The Galactic Alliance representatives stood in shocked silence as they toured the UES Dauntless.
What Captain Miho had casually referred to as a standard patrol vessel contained weapon systems that could vaporize small moons.
"This is merely our point defense grid," Miho explained, gesturing to what looked like hundreds of small turrets lining the hull. "For dealing with missiles, fighter craft, and debris. Nothing special." Delegate Tejo, a tall blue-skinned official representing the Galactic Security Council, blinked his four eyes rapidly, a sign of extreme distress in his species. He had served in the military for 40 cycles before entering diplomacy, and he had never seen anything remotely like this. "Captain Miho," Tejo said carefully, "you say this is standard? For human vessels?"
"Actually, the Dauntless is somewhat outdated," Lieutenant Sun he added helpfully. "She's scheduled for upgrades next year.
Our newer ships have much better systems."
The Alliance delegation exchanged worried glances. Earth had been isolated for nearly a century during the Great Expansion period. While the rest of the galaxy formed alliances and treaties, humans had been left to develop on their own. Most expected to find a moderately advanced civilization ready to be guided into galactic society.
Nobody expected this. "Would you like to see the main batteries?" Miho asked with genuine pride.
The tour continued to the central fire control. Through massive armored windows, the delegates could see enormous gun barrels that ran the length of the ship.
The smallest was easily the size of a transport shuttle.
"These are our standard railguns," Miho said. "They accelerate projectiles to about 30% of light speed.
Effective range is roughly 1 light minute." Admiral Park, head of Earth's diplomatic team, noticed the silence from their guests. "Is something wrong?"
Tejo struggled to find the right words. "Captain, the most advanced Alliance warships have weapons that reach perhaps 10% of these specifications. Your standard patrol vessel outguns our heaviest dreadnoughts." Park and Miho exchanged confused glances.
"That can't be right," Park said. "Our intelligence suggested the Alliance military was quite formidable." "It is," another delegate cut in.
"We maintain peace across 12,000 star systems."
"With ships less armed than this?" Miho gestured around. "How do you handle serious threats? What threats would require more firepower than this?"
Tejo asked, genuinely confused. The realization slowly dawned on both parties. Humans had developed in isolation, their military technology forged through centuries of internal conflict and paranoia about potential alien threats. The Alliance had grown through cooperation, with military technology advancing much more slowly in the long peace. That evening, as the Earth delegation hosted a formal dinner for their guests, Admiral Park found himself cornered by Tejo and 3 other Security Council representatives.
"Admiral, we have a problem," Tejo said quietly. "Your ships cannot be classified as normal warships under Alliance protocols."
"I don't understand," Park replied.
"They're simply ships."
"No," Tejo insisted.
"According to our metrics, they qualify as planet-killing weapons platforms.
Your smallest vessels outclass our largest.
The firepower your civilization casually wields could destabilize the entire Alliance." Park set down his drink. "Surely you don't think we pose a threat?" "Not intentionally," Tejo said.
"But the mere existence of such powerful weapons in the hands of a new member species will cause panic once word spreads."
That night, emergency transmissions flooded from Earth to the Alliance capital.
The Security Council called an emergency session. Several species threatened to withdraw from the Alliance if humans were admitted with their military intact.
Admiral Park sat in his office, reading report after report. Earth had wanted to join the galactic community for generations. Now their own strength might keep them isolated. "Admiral," Lieutenant Sun he said, entering his office. "The Alliance representatives are requesting a full demonstration of our capabilities."
"They want to see the Dauntless in action." Park looked up from his screen.
"They're afraid of us."
"Yes, sir," Sun he replied.
"But maybe that's our way forward. If they see what we can truly do."
"They might be even more afraid," Park finished. "Or," Sun he suggested, "they might see what we could offer as protectors rather than conquerors."
Park nodded slowly. Tell Captain Miho to prepare the Dauntless for demonstration exercises. But instruct him to operate at reduced capacity. Let's not frighten our new friends any more than necessary. As Sunny left, Park turned to the window, looking out at the stars. Humanity had built weapons to protect themselves from imagined threats. Now those same weapons threatened their acceptance into the community they had longed to join. The irony wasn't lost on him. The Great Hall of the Galactic Security Council hummed with worried voices. Representatives from over 200 species filled the circular chamber, many standing because there weren't enough seats. At the center stood a hologram of the UES Dauntless, slowly rotating to show its weapon systems highlighted in red. "This single human vessel," Council Leader Tejo said, his voice amplified through the chamber, "carries enough firepower to destroy our combined defense fleet. And according to their records, they have over 300 such ships." The room erupted in fearful chatter. Admiral Park and Commander Jaiwo sat in the observer section, uncomfortably aware of the stares directed their way. This was supposed to be a simple classification hearing, but it had turned into what felt like a trial. "I don't understand," Jaiwo whispered. "Why are they so afraid? We've shown no aggression." Park shook his head slightly. "Look at history from their perspective. Every advanced civilization they've encountered has had comparable military technology. Then we arrive with ships that make theirs look like toys. Of course they're afraid." Tejo raised his hands for silence. "The Classification Committee recommends that human warships be categorized as strategic defense platforms rather than conventional vessels. This would place them under special regulations, requiring Alliance approval for deployment." Objection. The word came from Delegate Minsu, representative of the outer colonies. "The humans have shown no hostile intent. Their technology is advanced, yes, but that alone is not reason to restrict them." "Their technology is not advanced, it is overwhelming," countered another delegate. "A conventional cruiser carries perhaps 30 weapon emplacements. Their patrol vessels carry over 1,000. Commander Jaiwu stood. "If I may address the council?" Tejo hesitated, then nodded. "The council recognizes Commander Jaiwu of Earth." Jaiwu walked to the center of the chamber. The hologram of the Dauntless towered above her, making her look small and harmless by comparison. "Honorable delegates," she began, "I understand your concern. But what you see as excessive weaponry, we see as standard protection. Earth developed in isolation, with only our imagination to tell us what threats might exist among the stars." She gestured to the hologram. "Yes, our ships are powerful. But power and threat are not the same thing. A surgeon's laser can cut through flesh, but we don't fear surgeons because we know their intent is to heal." "Intent can change," someone called out. "True," Jaiwu acknowledged. "But if Earth wanted conquest, would we be here seeking membership? Would we openly share our technology specifications? Would we submit to your inspection teams?" The room grew quieter as she continued. "We don't want to fight. We want to join you, to learn from you, to contribute. If our ships are stronger than yours, then let them protect you too." An elderly delegate rose shakily to his feet. "Pretty words. But humanity's history is filled with violence. Your own records show constant warfare throughout your development." Admiral Park stood now. "Yes, we fought each other. And from those conflicts, we learned the cost of war. We built powerful ships because we feared each other, and because we feared what we might find among the stars. Now we've found you, not enemies, but friends. Let us use what we built in fear to serve in friendship." The debate continued for hours. Some delegates wanted all human ships disarmed. Others suggested Earth be denied membership entirely. A few saw the potential advantage of having such powerful allies. In a private chamber adjacent to the main hall, Tejo met with Admiral Park and the key council leaders. "Your ships cannot be classified as regular warships," Tejo said firmly. "The regulations simply don't allow it." "But perhaps there's another solution." "What do you propose?" Park asked. "A new classification," said Delegate Minsu.
We could designate human vessels as Guardian-class ships. They would operate under joint command structures during peacetimes, with special deployment protocols.
You want control of our fleet? Park frowned. Not control, Tejo clarified. Partnership.
Your ships would remain under human command, but their deployment would be coordinated with Alliance defense plans.
Park considered this. And in return?
Full membership, Minsu said.
Access to all Alliance worlds, trade routes, and knowledge bases. Plus positions on the Security Council itself. There's another matter, Tejo added. The Council wants a demonstration. Not just specs and simulations. They want to see what your ships can really do. Park exchanged glances with Commander Jaiwu. They both knew what this meant. The Alliance was still afraid, still unsure. Very well, Park said.
We'll show you what the Dauntless can do.
But remember, you asked for this demonstration.
As they returned to the main chamber, Park couldn't help but wonder if they were about to make a terrible mistake.
Would showing the true capability of human ships ease fears or intensify them? The Council voted.
The demonstration would proceed in 3 days at the Arcturus testing grounds. There, the fate of Earth's relationship with the galaxy would be decided. The observation deck of the Arcturus testing station was packed with important visitors.
Over 300 delegates from across the Alliance had come to witness the demonstration.
Behind protective shields, they peered out at the vast emptiness of space where soon, the human vessel would show what it could do. Captain Miho stood on the bridge of the UES Dauntless, feeling the weight of Earth's future on his shoulders. His orders from Admiral Park had been clear: show enough to earn respect, but not enough to cause panic. All systems ready, Captain, Lieutenant Sun, he reported from her tactical station.
Alliance vessels are in position. Miho nodded.
Open channel to the testing coordinator. The main screen flickered to life, showing Tejo's serious face.
Captain Miho. The Council appreciates your participation today.
The exercise will proceed in 3 phases: defensive capabilities, maneuverability, and offensive systems.
Are you prepared?
We are ready, Miho replied simply.
Very well. For the first phase, our vessels will launch training projectiles at the Dauntless.
Your goal is merely to defend yourselves.
The connection ended, and Miho turned to his crew.
Remember, we're operating at 40% capacity only.
No need to show everything we can do.
Outside, 5 Alliance cruisers moved into attack positions. These were their best ships, the pride of their fleet. Under normal circumstances, they would present a serious threat to any vessel. They're launching, Sun, he announced.
Reading 300 incoming projectiles. Miho watched the tactical display as the simulated missiles approached. To the Alliance, this was an overwhelming attack that should tax even their most advanced defensive systems. Point defense grid only, Miho ordered. No need for energy shields yet. The Dauntless hummed slightly as hundreds of small turrets activated across its hull. With precision that looked almost casual, they tracked and destroyed the incoming projectiles.
Not a single one came within a kilometer of the ship.
On the observation deck, the delegates watched in stunned silence.
That was their point defense system only, Tejo explained. Not their main defensive measures. For the second phase, the Alliance ships attempted to target the Dauntless with tracking weapons. The human ship responded by demonstrating its engines, accelerating from standstill to near relativistic speeds in seconds, changing direction with impossible sharpness, and stopping with no apparent inertia. How are they doing that? One delegate asked.
The G-forces should be crushing their crew. Inertial dampening technology, another answered.
We have theoretical models, but nothing that effective.
The final phase was what everyone had been waiting for. The offensive test.
In the target area, the Alliance had placed decommissioned ships and asteroid targets at various distances. Some were nearly a light-minute away, too far for any Alliance weapon to hit with accuracy.
Target the farthest asteroid cluster, Miho ordered. Standard kinetic rounds only.
The main railguns of the Dauntless hummed to life. To the observers, it seemed like nothing had happened until the asteroid cluster 60 million kilometers away erupted into fragments.
0.3-second time to target, Sunhee reported. Direct hit. Next came energy weapons that cut through reinforced hull plating like it was paper. Defense systems that absorbed incoming fire and redirected it. Stealth technology that made the massive ship virtually disappear from sensors.
In the observation deck, the mood shifted from fear to awe, and finally to calculation. Many delegates were now whispering to each other, clearly seeing the potential advantage of having such ships on their side. The demonstration concluded with the Dauntless performing a precision maneuver, using minimal power to nudge a large asteroid into a new orbit without breaking it apart, showing that the same systems capable of tremendous destruction could be used with surgical precision. When Captain Miho returned to the observation deck, he found himself surrounded by delegates asking technical questions. Admiral Park and Commander Jaiwoo stood with Taeho and the council leadership. "Well?" Park asked quietly. "Has the council reached a decision?" Taeho looked troubled. "Your ship performed even better than your specifications suggested." "And you claim this was at reduced capacity?" Miho nodded. "We limited outputs to 40% of maximum on most systems." "Then the classification is clear," Taeho said. "Your vessels cannot be considered conventional warships. The power differential is too great." Park's face fell, but Taeho continued. "However, the Council is prepared to offer a unique arrangement. Your ships will be classified as Guardian-class vessels, a new category. They will remain under human command but will serve as defensive platforms for the entire Alliance." "And Earth's membership?" Jaiwoo asked. "Full membership, with a permanent seat on the Security Council," Taeho confirmed. "Your technology is too valuable to ignore, and too dangerous to reject." As they sealed the agreement, none of them knew that far across the galaxy, sensors had detected the demonstration. The Vosk, a species unknown to the Alliance, had been watching. And what they saw troubled them deeply. Their carefully laid invasion plans would need to be accelerated before these humans could spread their technology to others. The demonstration had impressed the Alliance, but it had also attracted unwanted attention. The Dauntless returned to Earth as a symbol of new partnership, unaware that its display of power had triggered a chain of events that would soon threaten the entire galaxy. The emergency alarms blared throughout Alliance headquarters. Admiral Park rushed into the command center where dozens of officials from various species huddled around display screens. The blue glow of tactical displays cast eerie shadows across their worried faces. "What's happened?" Park demanded. Taeho turned, his four eyes blinking rapidly in distress. "The Varen colony has gone silent." Then Proxima Station. "Now we've lost contact with the entire Delphi sector." The main screen showed a map of Alliance space with large red areas indicating lost communications. Whatever was happening, it was spreading fast. "Do we have any visual data?" Park asked. "Only this," Taeho said, bringing up a grainy video feed. The footage showed strange ships with curved, organic-looking hulls firing on an Alliance outpost. The outpost's defenses seemed useless against the attackers. "Who are they?" Park whispered. "They call themselves the Vosk," said Delegate Minsu, joining them at the console. "We've intercepted some communications. They appear to have been studying us for centuries, waiting for the right moment to strike." "And they decided that moment is now? Why?" The room fell quiet until Commander Jaiwoo spoke up from where she had been analyzing data. "The demonstration. They must have observed the Dauntless demonstration. Our timing couldn't have been worse." Park understood immediately. "They saw what human ships can do, and decided to attack before we could share our technology with the Alliance." Over the next 3 days, more colonies fell. Alliance fleets engaged the Vosk ships but were consistently defeated. The Vosk vessels had advanced shielding that Alliance weapons couldn't penetrate, and weapons that cut through Alliance ships with terrifying ease. In an emergency Security Council session, Admiral Park watched as reports came in from the front lines. The Alliance was losing badly. "We need to deploy the human ships," Park argued.
The 7th Fleet is ready to assist. Taeho shook his head. The Council has voted. Your ships are too powerful to risk in this conflict. If they were captured or destroyed, the technology could fall into Vosk hands. While you debate, people are dying. Park's voice echoed through the chamber. The risk is too great, another counselor insisted. Your ships will remain at Earth as our final defense line. Park left the chamber in frustration. Outside, he found Admiral Yunho waiting. She commanded Earth's 7th Fleet, considered obsolete by human standards but still far more powerful than anything the Alliance possessed. They said no, Park told her. Yunha's expression hardened. 3 billion people in the affected sectors, and they're worried about technology transfer? The Council is afraid. They think if the Vosk defeat us and capture our ships, the entire galaxy is doomed. And if we do nothing, those people die anyway. Yunha paced the corridor. What if we don't need Council approval? Park looked at her sharply. Explain. The membership agreement gives Earth the right to defend itself. If we could prove the Vosk are a direct threat to human colonies. They haven't attacked any human settlements yet, Park pointed out. No, Yunha agreed. But our new trade ship to Proxima is overdue. If something happened to it? Park understood what she was suggesting. That would be deception. It would be protecting lives, Yunha countered. Earth joined this alliance to be part of something bigger, not to sit back while others die. Before they could debate further, Jaiwo rushed toward them, a data tablet in hand. Admiral. The Vosk fleet has changed course. They're heading toward New Sol colony. Park felt his blood run cold. New Sol was Earth's newest and most distant colony. Though small, it was indisputably human territory. Get me the Council, Park ordered. An hour later, the full Council had reconvened. The main screen showed the Vosk fleet approaching New Sol. They've made this a human fight now, Park said. Under Alliance Charter, we have the right to defend our territory. With proportional force, Taeho reminded him. The Vosk fleet outguns the entire Alliance Navy, Park responded. I'd say the 7th Fleet is proportional. After heated debate, the Council reluctantly agreed. Earth could deploy its ships, but only to defend New Sol. Admiral Yunha received the orders with a grim smile. 7th Fleet, prepare for immediate departure. Battle stations. In orbit around Earth, 15 human vessels smaller and older than the Dauntless powered up their engines. These ships had been scheduled for decommissioning before Earth joined the Alliance. Now they represented the only real hope against the Vosk threat. As the fleet prepared to jump, Captain Miho found himself reassigned as tactical advisor to Admiral Yunha. Why would they head for New Sol? Miho asked during the briefing. It's a minor colony with no strategic value. Because they're scared of us, Yunha replied. They saw what the Dauntless could do, and they want to eliminate the human threat before engaging our main forces. They don't realize these are our older ships, Miho observed. Yunha's smile didn't reach her eyes. Let's hope they never find out. The 7th Fleet vanished into FTL, racing toward humanity's first interstellar battle. Behind them, the Alliance Council watched nervously, wondering if they had made a terrible mistake. The human 7th Fleet dropped out of FTL at the edge of the New Sol system, sensors immediately scanning for Vosk ships. Admiral Yunha stood on the bridge of the flagship UES Sejong, watching his tactical displays populated with enemy positions. 15 Vosk capital ships, reported Captain Miho. Plus approximately 60 support vessels. They've already destroyed our orbital platforms and have ground forces landing. What about the colonists? Yunha asked. Most have reached the emergency shelters. The colony shield is holding for now, but it won't last against sustained bombardment. Yunha studied the tactical display. The Vosk fleet was arranged in a standard attack formation, clearly not expecting serious resistance. They hadn't detected the human fleet yet. Open channel to all Alliance ships in the area, Yunha ordered. The communications officer looked confused. Ma'am, there are no Alliance ships here. Not yet, Yunha said with a slight smile. But I suspect they're following us. She was right. Minutes later, 30 small Alliance vessels dropped out of FTL behind the human fleet. On the main screen, the face of Captain Hodgen appeared. He commanded the Alliance Fast Response Squadron that had been monitoring the Vosk advance. Admiral Yunha, we were ordered to observe only, but my crew voted unanimously to join the fight, Hodgen said. We may not have your firepower, but we're ready to help. Your timing is perfect, Captain, Yunha replied. I have a plan that requires your ship's unique capabilities. The plan was unconventional. Instead of a direct assault, Yunha positioned the human ships in a defensive sphere around New Sol. The Alliance vessels, faster but less armed than human ships, would act as scouts and targeting systems. The Vosk have spotted us, Miho reported. They're breaking off their attack on the colony and moving to engage. The Vosk commander, overconfident from easy victories against Alliance forces, directed his fleet into a direct attack pattern. Why wouldn't he? His ships outnumbered the human vessels 5-1. What the Vosk didn't understand was that human warfare doctrine had evolved through centuries of fighting other humans, opponents who thought like them and had similar technology. This had forced innovation beyond simple numerical advantage. Activate the Aegis network, Yunha ordered. The human ships extended their shield systems, connecting them into a single defensive bubble that encompassed not just their fleet but the colony as well. Inside this protected zone, the Alliance vessels darted about, gathering targeting data and relaying it to the human gunners. When the Vosk opened fire, their energy weapons splashed harmlessly against the combined shield. They tried to push through, but found themselves caught in a carefully designed killing field. All ships, commence fire, Yunha commanded. The human vessels released their first volley. Railguns accelerated projectiles to near light speed. Laser arrays precisely targeted vulnerable points on Vosk ships. Unlike previous battles where Alliance weapons had barely scratched Vosk shields, the human weapons tore through them. They're adjusting their shield frequencies, Miho warned. Our effectiveness is dropping. This was where the Alliance ships proved their worth. Captain Hodgen's vessels, though lightly armed, carried advanced sensor suites. They quickly identified the changing Vosk shield patterns and transmitted data to the human ships. New targeting solutions uploaded, Miho confirmed. Second volley ready. The battle lasted just 40 minutes. When it ended, the Vosk fleet was in ruins. 3 human ships had sustained damage, but none had been destroyed. The Alliance vessels, protected by the human shield network, had all survived. On the colony surface, the few Vosk ground forces that had landed surrendered when they lost contact with their fleet. 2 days later, in the Alliance Council chamber, Admiral Yunha and Captain Hodgen presented their after-action report. The room was silent as they described how the combined human Alliance force had defeated a numerically superior enemy. What made the difference, Hodgen explained, wasn't just human firepower. It was the combination of our technologies. Our sensors compensated for their targeting limitations. Their shields protected our more vulnerable ships. Tejo stepped forward. The Council has reviewed your report and reached a unanimous decision. The chamber doors opened, and Admiral Park entered with Commander Jaiwoo. Earth's ships will be officially classified as Guardian-class vessels, Tejo announced. Too powerful for conventional combat roles, but perfect as defensive platforms around which our fleets can operate. Together, we can create a new type of combined fleet that maximizes our respective strengths. 6 months later, at the orbital shipyards above Earth, Alliance engineers worked alongside human technicians. The first joint-designed vessel was taking shape, smaller than a human cruiser but incorporating their advanced weapon systems, combined with Alliance sensor technology and communication systems. Admiral Park and Tejo stood at the observation window, watching the construction. You were right, Tejo admitted. Your ships were exactly what we needed, when we needed them most. And you were right to be cautious, Park replied. Power without purpose is just a threat. But power with protection as its goal becomes something else entirely. Below them, the shipyard was busy with activity as more vessels were being retrofitted.
Human ships were being converted from weapons of war to guardians of peace, their immense power now focused on a single purpose: protecting the diverse species of the galaxy they had joined.